What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Friday, January 7th edition of DraftKings Tournament Plays presented by Jock Market. I am your host, Adam Scherer. You can find me on Twitter at ShipMyMoneyDFS. And as a reminder, if you use the code Awesemo, Jock Market will match 100% of your first deposit up to $50. Today, we're going to take a look at 5 of the best tournament options on DraftKings. Keep in mind that there's a lot of news pending on this slate. We are very likely to get changes in player projections, starting lineups for sure, going to get changes in ownership projections. But for now, taking a look at 5 of the early options. Starting at number 5, Russell Westbrook, only projected for 3% ownership with an 8% chance of being in the optimal lineup. He's $10,100, point guard only eligible. He's only produced 1.22 DraftKings points per minute in the games that he's played without Anthony Davis this year. That's problematic because on this slate, you have no shortage of value, but you also have an underpriced James Harden, an underpriced Kevin Durant, Giannis Antetokounmpo in a great spot, Nikola Jokic in a great spot, amongst others. And so it makes the opportunity cost very, very high. You really can't afford to roster Westbrook and not get a good game from him. You're going to be in a lot of trouble. But the flip side is that Westbrook is available at virtually no ownership, and we know that he's capable of giving you a massive game anytime he steps on the floor, even if it's not the most likely outcome. So this isn't someone that I would recommend building your lineups around in the sense that you just jam Russell Westbrook into every lineup you're playing or anything like that. But if you need a high upside player that has the ability at least to be one of the highest scorers on the slate at very low ownership, Westbrook's someone to consider. Number 4, Dejante Murray, kind of similar to Westbrook. He's projected for 5% ownership, has a 10% chance of being in the optimal lineup. He's $9,600, so he's a little bit less expensive than Westbrook. But the other thing that stands out about Murray is that Derek White and a number of other Spurs players are out tonight. Dejante Murray has averaged 1.51 DraftKings points per minute in the minutes he's played without White on the floor this year. Now, most of that doesn't come from full games. It's just from in-game sample sizes, so that can change at times. But you see a spike in assist percentage. White, or Murray rather, is up to about 41% without White on the floor. He maintains a 26.5% usage rate. He's a very good rebounder, and he's not really that expensive for what should be increased production. Number 3, Furcon Cork projected for 6% ownership with a 15% chance of being in the optimal lineup. He's shooting guard and small forward eligible. He's $5,100. There's a lot of newer value that is going to be available tonight that we haven't gotten the roster recently. And that kind of pushes Korkmaz to the back burner, but he does still look like he's going to be a little bit lower owned than he should be. He has started 12 games with Joel Embiid active since the beginning of last season. In those 12 games, Korkmaz has averaged 0.9 DraftKings points per minute, and he's averaged almost 29 minutes per game. Danny Green is questionable tonight. He did go through shoot around, so I'm assuming he's going to play. But either way, there's a ton of minutes available with Shake Milton still out, with Tyrese Maxey still out. You should see a lot of Furcon Korkmaz tonight. Number 2, Yusuf Nurkic, somehow only projected for 3% ownership on DraftKings. I don't know if that will change. It should go up, but he has a 16% chance of being in the optimal lineup. So it has quite a bit of room to grow. And there are a lot of very good center options on this slate. So it makes sense for Nurkic to maybe be a little bit lower owned than he otherwise would be. But at $7,000 with no Damian Lillard, no CJ McCollum, no Larry Nance, and maybe no Cody Zeller, who's working his way into shape, you can expect a lot of minutes and a lot of production from Yusuf Nurkic. He played 33 minutes last game. I don't expect that would change much, even if Zeller is able to come back. And he's averaged 1.29 DraftKings points per minute without Lillard or McCollum on the floor this year, making Nurkic look like one of the best center options on the slate, and he's not getting much ownership. And then coming in at number 1, certainly not a contrarian option, but Jalen Bronson projected for 40% ownership with a 53% chance of being in the optimal lineup. He's $7,000. He's averaged 1.1 DraftKings points per minute in his starts without Luka Doncic this season. He's averaged 35.1 minutes per game in those games. So to recap, the top 5 tournament options on DraftKings: Russell Westbrook, Dejante Murray, Furcon Korkmaz, Yusuf Nurkic, and Jalen Bronson.